Yep. We are recording. Any comments on the last minutes?
I had a couple. Mostly they were just typos. But the see, third paragraph down is it Eversource also sent crews as opposed to set. And also in talking about prior to arranging for full repaving in the bottom of the second paragraph, I don't know that we talked about a date for full repaving of the parking lot.
We did not.
Right. So I don't know whether that's, it's probably better to leave that out of the minutes.
Well, let me clarify that. We were told that Gunner was working on filling in the cracks that are there in the potholes
Right.
prior to getting it to do full repaving. So that's what we spoke about. You can always check
Right.
that
But
in the recording.
I think someone reading these minutes might imply that the full repaving is in the offing.
Yeah, well, eventually we should have to do that for safety purposes. But right now we couldn't do it until tarmac is not available, and asphalt is not available until the warmer weather. So
True.
we can't even do full repaving now anyway, but we can fill in some of it. I
Are
personally think we should arrange for full repaving. We've been talking about it, but we can't just be all talk. Eventually, we got to do something.
What's apologies for not having driven through in a while and remembering. I mean, is it, are we potholed and stuff, or is this due to
Scott, when we had the drilling, the digging up for the gas mains,
Yep.
they filled it in, and that's sunken in already. Then they came a second time when they were around there. I had them fill in some of the deeper areas. That's already sunken in. So thankfully, we hadn't had any slips and falls, but it's going to have to eventually be well paved in.
Sure.
And then for HUD purposes, after the REAC inspection, that was something that was cited was the spider cracking as you're heading up the hill going from Mill and the community room, that block before you come up around the bend. They were noting that it is of percentage that is questionable whether it would be a finding or not.
So HUD felt that we should do it.
HUD felt that the cracks need to be addressed. They don't make any suggestions in terms of the methodology. The cheapest would be to fill in the cracks, but there are a lot of sections which I don't know that it makes sense to just continue to patch it all. It may be either cutting and replacing sections or, like you said, redoing the full thing. Or doing one parking lot in a section at a time, and we kind of group it in a way that makes sense for staging it in different phases.
Do we have any plans to start? Have we been getting bids yet on any paving, or no?
We
have not.
We started to around the same time that we were doing the gas lines, but by now I would want to rebid the process. We were actually struggling to find companies to come out to offer us bids. We called like 10 different ones, and they were busy at the time. So I think we need to come up with a list of some contractors that we would need to reach out to.
I mean, because asphalt plants will be opening up fairly soon, and as soon as they open up, it'll be, this is the time to get
solicit
bids.
them. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to add that on to.
Hey, Bernie, Tim's actually waiting to get is in the waiting room.
I don't see him in the waiting room. Otherwise, I would have clicked on it.
Doesn't see you in the waiting room. Do you want me to?
Asphalt.
Okay, sounds good.
And I'm sorry, did you guys want to, we can do this in our other business. Did you want to do a regular?
Let's finish up. Yeah, let's finish up our minutes, and then we'll move on to the other stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, did you have one or two other? Or?
The other, I mean, it was just typos on the emergency phone as opposed to an emergency phone, and the elevator problems are mostly resolved. That was the last time. It's just
Or
grammar,
hopefully mostly resolved.
hopefully. Yeah, according to the report, according to the status report, they are. So
Yeah,
that's good.
currently,
Right.
before the next lightning bolt strikes somewhere in the county.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bernie. Rick is also asking and
Come in.
waiting to be let in.
Sorry, I don't see why. Oh, I see Rick. Okay, here we go. Rick's being let in. Now Tim popped up on the list, so he's in. Then we have Melissa Ruffin. Okay, everyone is let in.
All right, so motion to accept minutes. Thank you, Mike. Second, Peggy, great. All in favor? Ayes?
Aye.
Great. Thank you, Bernie, as always, for putting those together.
You're welcome.
All right, so I believe we moved to reports. Sorry, public comments. So again, for public comments, just request you keep them, about 2 minutes or something. Wendy, anything for us?
Well, Peggy and I usually chat about the sign. So I just wanted to let her know that the south side is pretty dark, but the new lights seem to be good. But there's one on the southwest sign, southwest side of the sign, doesn't seem to be working at all, I don't think.
Okay.
And they shut off at 9:30, but we're changing our clock soon, so that should be helpful. And then another thing I wanted to mention was we had the bug bug control come, and a previous time I had mentioned that people were probably getting phone calls or something, and it wasn't identified as Westmount Management, but this time it was. And on my message, I got a female robo, and so the only way I can get a message to me is by the phone. And the message was and Friday and something about bug control. And then it repeated 2 more times. It was a very short message, but I just wanted to check somewhere to see if really meant Thursday and Friday. So I went and I checked, and I saw a posting on Building 35, which has nothing to do with the Mill Apartments. And so that made it clear that it was Thursday and Friday, and explained that Gunner would be coming by. And then later I talked to someone who got an email, and on the email, the message said that the pest control would be coming monthly. And so we thought that was unusual. And on Friday, when the pest control man came and left my apartment, I said, "Are you coming monthly?" And he said no. So I'm assuming it's quarterly, but there were 3 totally different forms of informing people, and they were very varied. And then there could have been people who just may not recognize, I know that through the meeting last time, it was cleared up, and I was one that got my phone that said Westmount Management with the message that I got. But my message wasn't very informative, so I had to reach out to other people and to other buildings to see if I could figure it out. But the guy came. So
if we can just ask Westmount to go ahead and, again, I don't know if we're testing the system or if you guys get a test like sort of call under it, and if is this an issue that Wendy alone is getting, or is this something that we're having across the board? And if across the board, do we have a plan to kind of deal with?
Yeah,
And
I mean, I think
if it's to Wendy alone, still have to deal with it.
just to let everyone know, so there are 4 methods of communicating something like that.
Yep.
One would be a phone call through CallMax. One would be an email through CallMax. One would be a text message through CallMax. And the fourth would be the posting of a sign.
Okay.
And then as far as different information, they do come monthly, but they don't come to every unit every month. So it works out that each unit is staggered, but they're at the property every month. So that's why there'd be a different communication from one to the other. So,
Okay. But theoretically, whoever is going to have someone come through the apartment will get the proper heads up?
yes.
Or
Yes, like you said, you got a heads up on your robocall. It said Thursday or Friday, which was
well,
accurate.
it said and Friday, so it wasn't Thursday. So that's when I started trying to hunt down any more information on that.
So what likely happened was when they typed it in, instead of spelling out the full word Thursday, they probably wrote THURS.
Yeah,
and so
I am just
the computer
one of few
read that as Thurs instead of Thursday.
Yeah. So anyway, but
What I'm hearing is that we're
getting
making
closer,
progress.
we're getting
it's
the
just
message.
not, we're honing it.
right.
We'll get
So
there.
that's why I just wanted to give you a heads up on how it's going, and I am the least amount of technology, so maybe people got more or maybe less, but that was my experience. And thank you for the heads up that they do come monthly, which is interesting. So, but hopefully the phone message will come with the next time. But I'm assuming, or
Okay.
are the mills usually quarterly, or there's no, do we know?
Yes, so it's they come every single month, but they don't do every single unit every single month. So
Right.
it works out that your treatment is quarterly, but the exterminator is at the property every month.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Wendy. Cindy, I think you were next in. Any comments from you?
I just have for Amy. Amy, you mentioned just now recertification. I do have my my paperwork that I could drop off to you if you want to start my process, or should I wait till you reach out to me?
Yeah, I'll be reaching out to you. Yeah.
Okay,
If you have it ready, it's fine. You could come by and drop it off. That's fine too. And then I call you back in to sign everything. That's fine too. Okay? Whatever's convenient for you.
Oh, well, whatever you prefer is fine with me, Amy. I know how
Okay.
busy you
All right. I could see you next week, Monday.
are. Okay.
Okay.
So you want me to bring the papers by Monday? I can do afternoon. I have Bible study and stuff in the morning.
Perfect. Perfect. I'll see you then.
MPC. Okay. All right. I'll
Thanks.
come by.
Thanks, Cindy. Melissa, any comments? You're on mute if you do have any. Oh, there we go.
No.
Okay. Thank you, Melissa. And Jim?
Yeah, I have a couple of items. I believe Scott, you should have gotten an email with an attachment about preventive maintenance for the gas furnaces that Eversource recommends be done once a year, tune up. So that's the first item. Any comment on that?
I don't have a direct comment. We can get to maintenance and just ask a quick question as to what we're doing with our burner maintenance. Okay. So Jim, we'll cover that one under our reports. So sorry, next comment.
Okay. The next item is, I've been hearing from neighbors outside of the complex that Optimum and Frontier are putting in fiber optic. Gotten a solicitation for a pretty good price for fiber optic from Frontier. I'm wondering if there's any kind of consideration that uh, preferably both of those would somehow be able to put fiber optic as an option in the old Millport complex.
They will be ripping up our floors again. Because someone already came here asking about it, the other day, actually. And I told him to have someone, a representative, actually send over some information.
All right, so.
But it would be ripping up the roads again, just like they did for the gas lines.
All right, so we'll leave that in Westmount. We'll leave that in Westmount's hands for now. And again, if you just report back next week, and odds are that unless they're paying for a lot of stuff, I don't know if we're going to go that way.
Yeah, no.
It's a different. I'm getting the same solicitations here. They've upgraded their coverage to the copper to fiber, and it involves basically a package of your phone as well as internet and all kinds of other stuff that comes with it, with the modem and all this other kind of stuff. But how they get into the units, they've got to get fiber into each one of the units to this fiber modem, and that's quite a lot of changing of wiring and infrastructure and stuff. So
yeah, okay, so yeah, we'll take a look, and that I would be surprised if it will work well, but it's certainly worth researching because it's nice if it's there and can be available, but infrastructure is tough. Okay, sorry, Jim, go ahead.
That's it.
Okay. Well, tell you, why don't we circle back just real quickly? Do we have any maintenance plan on our gas burners? I know we talked about that before, and just don't know if where we ended up on that. I can't recall.
Well, we do the filter changes routinely, but we have not contracted to have an annual tune-up of the burners done. It was a big number to have that done in terms of expense, so we've been dealing with them when necessary, but haven't contracted for an annual maintenance.
Okay. And with that, is there, and again, I apologize because I know that we went over this in detail, and again, I do know that the costs were not insubstantial. Is there anything that we have to worry about under warranty or items with the burners, or?
No, nothing in particular that we have to worry about. I mean, most of the stuff is out of warranty at this point anyway.
Right.
But as far as maintenance is concerned, it would just be a preventive measure, wouldn't change warranty issues.
Okay. Then we can circle back to this under our general maintenance stuff. All right, so let's go report of officers, which then immediately turns to really report of our management staff.
All right, Amy, do you want to go through your report, please?
Okay. Yes.
Muted.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. All right. Yeah. So right now, I already have for my vacant units, the 4 vacant units, I have one. It's waiting for Section 8. I have 111. They're supposed to come and see the apartment today. They're on their way. And then I have the 411. I have an applicant in process for that one. And for the new, I just got another 1-bedroom. We're working on getting an applicant for. So, so those are in processes already. The vacants for receivables. Pretty much we're getting everybody in. Some people have a few issues, but we're trying to work with them in payment agreements instead of going to have to go to court and stuff like that. Those that are in legal, I'm just waiting on court dates for to follow back up with, so that we can avoid them getting evicted. And then we have
Amy, hang on. Yeah. I just want to butt in for a second. So you notice that AR is slowly creeping down. We've been making some progress on that. And I was going to ask Ann, we did get some DSS funding. Can you just report on that quickly?
Sure. Yeah.
Quick note, of course, obviously, if anything confidential, we'll talk about during executive. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Just overall, just overarching, we've seen a shift with, I almost said Imagineers. That's not who I'm talking about. Jade Amelia. They're circling back with there was a lot of personnel changes. I think we talked about this before. And so there were payments, there were abatements that weren't followed up on. There were payments that weren't followed up on or that were due to us. They've started to slowly but surely catch up one by one. So we've had a couple of larger amount checks come to us to cover some retroactive payments that were due. So we're still working and chipping away at that. I have one in particular that could, I've sent it back to her last week, the point of contact at Jade Amelia, for somebody that's actually already moved out, but money that has been owed to us. So again, just slowly chipping away at it, but we've made a lot of progress with some of the subsidy that's been due to us from outside housing voucher sources.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good news. Finally,
that's great.
Catching up.
Yeah, and to say that, I think you have some good notes on your AR sheets, which is great, and that'll speed us along in a little bit, which is good. Okay, sorry,
Okay,
Amy.
sorry, Amy, go ahead.
Yep.
Okay, yes, and we have the elevator up and running in 35. We were waiting for that phone. The phone is working now, so we're good. We're good on there. We have some little appliances that are being replaced, and the furnace for one of the units would need to be replaced. It's been approved and delivered and installed already as of today. Everything is complete. So that's basically all for me on my end. Does anybody else have any questions?
One thing, Amy, just a reminder, I think in April, so next month would be the month for the sprinkler inspections. So that will be going out next month.
Yeah, next April 10th will be the next sprinkler inspections. So Wendy, yes, that'll be you for sure.
Okay.
On April 10th. I have it down as of that. They could change the date, but right now it's April 10th. And that would be mostly for those 5 or 6 units that deal with that in the Mills apartments. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Amy in the non-confidential or non-executive, I mean? All right, thank you.
Can I go back to Amy? Just because I heard the April 10th, will there be a notification closer to April 10th?
But of course,
Okay.
there's going to be a Comax blast, as well as those Pacific apartments will be posted to their door.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, Amy, I was looking at the AR report, and I didn't see apartment 111 listed. Is it, which building is that in?
That's in 33.
33, okay. Thank you.
We go over to the budgets, or?
Sure. So I submitted the 3 budgets. There's fortunately nothing remarkable on them. We're kind of tracking at or close to budget on all 3 sets. Cash balances remain somewhat stable and are improving a bit with some of the collections. Phase 2 is still always our problem property in terms of cash flow, but Mill and phase 1 are pretty solid right now, in particular Mill. And generally speaking, everything's kind of going according to plan on the financial side. And as we did lend some money between properties for insurance payments with last year's increase. And as we get refunds on that, because of the new plan with State Farm, we'll reimburse the properties and make all that square, so that there won't be any money owed between any of the divisions, if you will, going forward. Outside of that, there's fortunately nothing remarkable in there to report on unless you have a question.
Just taking a look through them. So for Millport Phase 1, I mean, it looks like, again, the revenue, I mean, we're way off under the rents, but then we made that up under, we made it up under a couple of other line items in there and lowered expenses. But is that rent number going to come up at sometime soon? I mean, as we get these couple pieces, these other ones.
Well, if you look on Phase 1, if you go to the bottom of page 1, you'll see that the budget to date is 44,000. Actual to date is 48,000. So we're actually ahead of budget.
Right, but as you look at the top line, so there's a lot of other stuff that comes in. Oh, okay. So then you end up with the HAP actually is the variance part. That's the big change. Okay.
Right.
So the HAP is again, jacks us up over those points, which is great.
Right. So the budget included those two line items, and as we track it, we're tracking them separately.
Okay. I'm sorry. I combined two columns. I moved it to the left, and I missed on that. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, Rick, I was looking at the debt service coverage between 1 and 2. Yeah. And even though one's got I guess a little bit better cash flow, the debt service is better in Millport 2, which I was surprised.
Well, don't be fooled. So the way this sheet works is that when you see the debt service coverage there, that is the debt service coverage based on the budget. So it's not based on the actual. So that would be an annual debt service coverage target that has been set up by the budget.
Got it. Okay. I was just looking, going, whoa, wait a minute. So we are looking for Millport 1 at a 0.85.
Yes. That when we budget it, that's what it comes out to. And then what I wind up doing is, we combine all three and look at it as if it were a single entity to ensure that our debt service coverage is enough so that across the three entities we're covering and have the capacity to cover the debt service. And when we go over this stuff with M&T, that's the way we look at it.
Okay.
I mean, they all look good.
They're definitely improving.
Improving, yeah. It would be great if we could do a little better, but that's kind of the nature of the beast right now.
Again, as we get under executive, it's we'll talk about that a little bit more.
And the one other thing that will help very infinitesimally, but it will help, is I'm still in discussion with Aaron from HUD regarding our OCAF increases for the 18 RAD units. She owes me some what my next steps are for doing that increase, but actually we would be covering a couple retroactive increases as well. So again, it's like a 0.8% increase, but it's anything will help.
Should we also be reviewing Canaan Parish budget at these meetings?
Well, you have a separate board, so why don't you do it at that board meeting?
Pardon?
We do.
It's remember that we end up being the managing partner over at Canaan Parish, and so really it should come underneath our purview too. New Canaan Neighborhoods is doing it. Well, we can talk under executive as to the right process for that, but okay. Any other questions under the budgets or financials for the departments?
No, it's good to see things improving.
Yeah. Okay, any other public items that we should be discussing? Or maintenance, other public issues that we should be bringing up? All right, then I'd like to see a motion to move to executive session.
I'll make a motion.
I have a quick question. I'm sorry.
Sure, go ahead, Melissa.
Even though I live at Millport, is it possible, could the children at Millport play in Canaan Parish playground? Is that acceptable?
Good question. Peggy, I don't know if are the rules, I mean, essentially look, ultimately, a lot of people can play in a lot of playgrounds, but it is private property, and therefore I don't
Well, there's
know.
liabilities involved.
Right, but it's one of those, like, we don't guard that playground. And again, I think it ends up being for the benefit of the tenants. Which
Yeah,
makes it tricky.
I think you need a fob to enter the playground.
Okay.
I'm not sure, Rick, is that true?
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
pretty
there's
sure
a
that's
fob to enter the
accurate. You need
playground.
a,
There's supposed to be a fob to enter the basketball court and the
right. Yeah.
other
Yeah.
amenities that are over there.
Yeah, so Melissa, I mean, fortunately
If
slash
you're,
unfortunately, depending where you are, it is attached to that property and the residents of that property.
The other option is the school, just one more block on the other side of 123.
You're right.
Nice
Or
playground.
if Millport will ever get like a basketball court or a playground for the kids too, because there's kids there that would like to play as well too. I'm just asking, like maybe for like the near future, is that ever possible?
Well, there's no room for it.
Yeah, I mean, Melissa, it's something we would love to do. We absolutely, it would be awesome to be able to do it. Unfortunately, we don't have the space. You know, depending on the future developments and where those take place, we might be able to do something, but that's a long shot at this point. So, I mean, please know that again, if we'd done everything all over, you know, we probably would have arranged things a little bit differently inside of the units, but this is how we did it. So and we wish we had accounted more for the kids and for some more parking.
Okay. Is it any like, let's say if we could use it or anything like that, could it be like a waiver we could sign or something like that? Say like something do happen, nobody won't have to sue or anything like that. I just think it's kind of, I'm not fair because like there's no place that other kids could play with. Some people, I guess, don't care. I have younger kids, and I'm just asking, like, could we use that property? If we could sign a waiver and say, hey, if something do happen, we won't sue or anything like that. Could that be in like the near future or something like that?
Well, let us consider it. It is tricky because each property is its own entity, and that does create some issues that we'll have to talk about under a board side, from a perspective of board liability and all the other rights and everything else that goes with it. But I appreciate you bringing it up, and that's a good question. That let us dig in a little bit and see if we can't get back to you as to our thought process.
yeah, definitely we can talk about it with with the New Canaan Neighborhoods Board and see. I mean, and whether, in the meantime, do your kids have any friends that live over at Canaan Parish that you could go over and meet them on the playground? I mean, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yes.
So, you'd be their guest, but it's a question right now. We'd have to look at it as far as access, because you'd have to get a fob, to get into the playground, because it is locked, because we don't, otherwise it ends up, collecting all kinds of stuff. And people let their dogs run around in there and stuff. And so we don't want that to happen, But
No, I understand.
It's a good idea. I mean, because you hate to see it not being used, and not being used as much as it could be when it's close by like that. So
Okay.
we'll take a look at it. I don't know what's possible legally, but we'll figure it out. We'll try to figure something out.
Thank you so much.
You bet. And again, great question, and thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
All right, then, do we have a motion to move to executive?
Motion.
Second.
Seconded. Great. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Jim and Wendy and Cindy and Melissa. Appreciate it. You guys could drop off. That would be great.
Hey, thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.